MNNIT, Allahabad. He also worked as postdoctoral fellow at UBI, Portugal, and National Research Corporation as Research Exchange Program under Science Foundation with the Dublin Institute of Technology, Ireland, Norwegian University of Science and Technology, NTNU, Norway. His research area includes digital signal processing applications in power system relaying and power quality, disturbance detection and classification, robust control scheme for load frequency regulation in hybrid distributed generation based power system and microgrid, wide area monitoring and control in large scale power network. He has already published more than 100 papers with international journals and conferences of reputes, few papers in pipeline out of the research guidance of doctoral and master students, and also ongoing projects with the Department of Science and Technology. Now I request Professor Mohanty to present his lecture.
Thank you, Professor Rai, for introducing me. Is it no necessity? Anyway, just I'm privileged, of course, to get an opportunity just to share my ideas, although it is not in a very streamlined manner. But I will try to focus on the highlights and the recent trends with respect to the renewable energy penetration and electric vehicle if time permits, because basically the renewable penetration I will focus more, and that is in the distribution network as well as the microgrids. So this will be what is the critical challenges in the distribution network on contrary to the transmission network in context of the protection and control aspect, also followed by the stability, and what are the possible challenges that we are facing, followed by the subsequent mitigations in order to address, in order to enhance the dependability and the security of the entire grid, and put that is in the both in the transmission and distribution network integrated, right? And so in this context, we will highlight the protection problems, control problem associated. So that means what when we are talking about the control problem or protection problem, we should have the in-depth knowledge about the dynamics of the system. That is basically in the faster time scale. And it's when you are talking about the subsequent impact on the grid, apart from the adequate dynamics, any parametric uncertainty, which is not within our hand, any possible manifestation of the stochasticity in the system, particularly the on-model dynamics. If the dynamics, okay, if the dynamics is known to us, so we are well aware of that, okay, in this integrated network, subjected to any perturbation, this is in a total your large scale network architecture and this modeling. And we are doing, when suppose for instance we are taking the small signal analysis, you are linearizing about your operating point. That means some relevant informations and some redundant informations, we are splitting it without sacrificing the accuracy of the system, and we are going for a decision making process in context of the protection and control. Hello, any just please mute. I would like to request the participants to mute. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are properly audible, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this I will not cover in detail. So this is already this all you are well aware of, the autonomy, stability, compatibility, scalability, and the peer-to-peer model. So basically, what are the challenges when you are talking about this microgrid or in a DC penetrated at a respective bus, the bidirectional power flow, the stability, modeling, and the low inertia and the uncertainty. Try to understand, because when the converter based your DC is penetrated to the system, so in context of that, the contribution to the short circuit current is different for the synchronous based DC than that of the inverter based DC. And in that context, when you are going for any unbalanced network transformation for the direct sequence component based analysis in a modular form, it is very difficult to go for a decisive action for that, because we have the inertia response is different, the control associated is different, the dynamics, some on-model dynamics due to the inherent, for instance, your solar insolation, your temperature, and other your uncertainty, your environmental condition that do arises in the integrated network, that on-model dynamics. Again, the on-model dynamics is split into various parts. That is a structured and unstructured. Sometimes, so that means the dynamics, whatever we are going to model with respect to certain your probability density function, your control action in a specific bandwidth, taking with the due consideration of the uncertainty and the tolerance of the same. Try to understand. That means when you are talking about on-model dynamics, whenever you are making a control effort or a protection effort in order to enhance the dependability and the security of the system, whether our design is resilient enough to tolerate that and make a subsequent decisive action in that context. That we will understand, and then we will go for what are the solutions. And I also, in the previous lecture, I was telling about some aspects. Try to understand how the technology grew in the due course of time. Thanks for the signal processing, pattern classification, artificial intelligence, this all taken in cascade, that application to the power network for a various aspect, for instance, for the stability aspect, for protection aspect, for control aspect. Now the question arises, we are talking about a lot of things. And when you are taking a decision, whether it is dependent upon the models or it is purely data driven, taking some dynamics which is really relevant, you cannot make it as a redundant informations and make a decision on that. So in that context, the introspection of the signal and the discontinuity of the signal is very necessary. On the earlier classical power network, whether you take in the transmission system and a distribution system, the augmentation of the network architecture was not there. But now it is not only with the penetration of the renewables, the augmentation of the communication infrastructure also prevails. Try to understand. So we are not only the due care has to be taken in context of all the control effort or the protection aspect, advanced protection aspect in that regard. The communication infrastructure should be also reliable enough if you are taking any mature technology for the adaptation. And at the same time, we cannot arbitrarily put the communication infrastructure or any suppose your standard, your IEC 61850, your different communication protocols are there, and which is really compatible. Apart from that, whether this communication infrastructure and this specific communication protocol, whatever we are implementing, is it cost efficient or not? That also we have to take into the considerations. So for this, so I will very quickly, these are all basics. So I will, this is in the transmission network, all of you know, as far as the visibility of the grid is concerned, on contrary to the SCADA network. That means you are making the more data frame for the subsequent analysis. So that means if you have two substations and you are making the phasor measurements, that means from the remote end, you are making you are extracting the relevant information for the decision making process, which is not efficient as far as the local control or local based protections for single-ended protection or local protection, whatever you talk about, whether you are talking in a distribution system followed by the microgrid. And in the due course of time, you have the DG penetrated the evolving fault. Evolving fault means one fault is there again, or your continuous your another fault is being initiated without the due clearance of the first fault. So the transformer energization, the renewables, again, if you are a multi-terminal grids, MTDCs, you have different your converter transformers, your back-to-back connections, your re-energization of and the multiple events that it is going to occur, and whether it is connected to a stiff grid network or a weak grid network. So these are the possible scenario where the evolving fault arises, and sometimes it is associated to the power quality events, and all of you are well aware of the power quality events. And basically most of the literature that is dominated by a single event analysis, but on contrary, the composite event analysis is also indispensable as in context of the complex network architecture is concerned. And try to understand when you are talking about this and I talked about the uncertainty also. So the uncertainty and all, if taken into the consideration now, how the introspection of the signal you have to take into the consideration. Is the time series analysis is adequate, or when you go in the transfer domain, whether the frequency domain, in the frequency domain also the signal analysis is adequate, or we go in cascade. And the non-stationary signal can be taken as a pseudo-stationary in a particular data window. Try to understand, when you are taking a specific data window, let's take a fixed data window with the overlapping, so that the transition between the pre-fault event and the post-fault event that occurs in the entire scenario is going to be visualized with respect to the, and first of all, we take a fixed window with overlapping, and then we take your adaptive window based on the different manifestation of the disturbances. For that, how far these signal processing algorithms and the pattern classification, pattern recognition, is it helpful? It is really helpful, and because again, whatever we go for a thresholding process based on, and it is basically dominated by the knowledge based. For instance, you are talking about islanding, you are talking about a fault, and here, suppose I'm talking about the empirical mode decomposition. There is signal processing algorithm is much more mature in a different field. But in the power network applications, although the work has been done, we are not completely or still also the commendable work as of now is there, but still lot of research, there is a exploration is there in the field of signal processing application to the power system in a different area. So this empirical mode decomposition is one of the these are the, I'm not talking about the different techniques and its advantage, because all of you have a abundant literature to go for that, because from the your FFT, your wavelet analysis, your empirical mode decomposition, your ensemble empirical mode decomposition, your complex wavelet transform, there are a lot of signal processing algorithm that is available. And what exactly we do, that means first of all, we are taking a data dependent decision. Try to understand, you are introspecting the signal, you are taking the due consideration of some model dynamics, also some on-model dynamics is there, which that may affect the possible occurrence of the discontinuity, which is not adequate to get addressed by virtue of the normal transformations. So when you take what wavelet, a lot of your almost if you see in the 30% domain in your stability, your protection, your wavelet transform application is there. And with the modification with the pre-specified Gaussian window, Again, we augment that so that the time and frequency resolution that is taken into cascade so that the discontinuity can be visualized in an accurate manner. Now the question is that you are taking the signal statistics as a whole, because but again I am telling you have a uncertainty and on-model dynamics in the system. So the noise, whatever it is coming into the picture, that will be also taken in cascade. So you take a single variate function with a probability density function PDF with a Gaussian distribution curve, the expectation parameter, and autocorrelation, cross correlation functions, the ergodicity and mutual correlations. These are all possible scenario where the probabilistic phenomena can be addressed, and in a particular in a stochastic difference equation. So that means what I want to tell you, the noise statistics has to be taken in cascade with the signal statistics. And in accordance with that, we have the analysis of the introspection of the signal will be accomplished. So this oscillatory signal, when you are decomposing, you have the high frequency part and the low frequency part. Try to understand when we are talking about the protection aspect, the relaying, we are concerned with the fundamental phasor extraction, starting from your DFT, starting from your least square estimate. That means your signal is best fitted with respect to the fundamental, your harmonics, your interharmonics, and other impulsive and switching transient. You have to extract the fundamental phasor in context of the decision making. But the question arises here, that is the only the low frequency phasor estimation is completely reliable as far as the dependability and security is concerned? Certainly not. Now the high frequency based also, that means the traveling wave based, where you have the possible, because we have in the with the specific bandwidth where your CT and PT, where the transducer in that range, it is adequately capturing that dynamics in that specific bandwidth. The traveling wave based protection is also now on the way with respect to the communication infrastructure. And nowadays with the super grid, your Eurogrid, your traveling wave based protection is on the way, and it is coming in a big way. So these are certain. So where you just try to understand. So this I'm just citing one example: empirical mode decomposition. That means your signal followed by the residue, and you make the data set to the different instincting mode functions, where the relevant frequency component that do prevails in a subsequent decomposition, and we particularly the fast IMF that takes the more relevant informations. And when you make that, you have to, when you make a subsequent decomposition, the preservation of the energy in the signal, that should not also get distorted, because when you make a scaling, you take that and you do the synthesis, and so that energy should also be preserved, and the characteristics and the property of the signal should not get distorted, so that our ultimate goal is not going to get defeated for that. So that is the energy preserving. And so that means you go for the orthogonal, that means a decoupled base. Just in a control, you might be knowing the vector control. You're just like a DC analogy, you have the decoupled control as far as your control effort is concerned. So here is also your orthogonal, your decomposition is there, so that one decomposition is completely mutually exclusive than that of other, and you get for the Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization, and you make a Euclidean norm. So these are all associated mathematics, and you have a basic analytic function. This you will understand when you go in depth of that mathematics of that. But what I want to tell you, you have to, so for instance, I'm talking about a signal. That means you have to ensure whether that signal is an analytic function or not. That means it is satisfying your Cauchy-Riemann condition, and whether you are mapping into the Hilbert's space, you are evaluating the Euclidean norms, and you are taking the Hilbert transform of that to get a particular decision in this context. So that means whatever you are getting a disturbance, whether you are so that means you are making a relevant information of the features to take a associated your decision making process and try to understand. Again, suppose I am making a capacitor switching, I'm making a fault, high impedance fault, and a steady state current. So sometimes these three may be overlapping, and you are okay. You are taking certain features. For instance, you are in Ross in the transformer that is raised in the second harmonics, and your fault instant. So this your second harmonic resistance. So that is different than that of the fault. You are taking it as distinctive features. But the question arises when you are making a multiple disturbance. Unless you are projecting into the high dimensional space with a sufficient margin between the consecutive classes, you cannot accomplish a particular decision in that. So it is starting from your empirical risk minimization and structural risk minimization, and we make a particular decision in that context. So that means you are projecting your data to the high dimensional space, and the overlapping between the two consecutive data set that you are taking, it is minimum. You are making basically a multi-objective optimization, and your inequality constraint is with the relaxation of certain variables. You are making to a equality constraint based optimization, and you are whether you are making adopting a meta heuristic based and the faster convergence or the cascade of the different your optimization techniques being adopted in order to take care of any that is being trapped in the convergence phenomena. So that should be duly taken care of, and subsequently you project your identical events to a higher dimensional space in order to discriminate the particular events than that of the other events correctly. And here it is just a experimental you have a setup is there that is in the grid connected PV, and we have made it with this is the associated your grid side converter. Your boost. This is your solar PV. So you have all your electrical characteristics and your particular value and your 5-level inverters as a grid. It is there, and just you see this is a 2.7 kilowatt. So it has it was a rooftop PV. And we have the grid emulator was there. So that means how your total detection algorithms is the performance is investigated in the grid connected mode and the islanded mode, and the transition in between, and taking all the grid disturbances. And here the uncertainty when you are trying to understand, so that we have deliberately made in a due course of time. So for that, so this is understood. So you have this is a basic transformation and different control with respect to the different reference, and try to understand now whatever you are making an associated control. Suppose your DC link control, your DC this reference is constant. But with respect to the ripple and any uncertainty, if this reference is again varying in that specific bandwidth, is your controller is efficient enough? So that is the problem. So so in that context, we are implementing the robust control with starting from your S infinity, your sliding mode, and any other your multi-agent based. So that means it has to tolerate the uncertainty, and subsequently the control effort should have the corrective action, because unless the switching pulse is going to the your respective your PWM pulse is going, your control effort in the grid side it is going to get defeated. And subsequently, again, any uncertainty in the grid also, if you are taking into the consideration and you are making a control action in that, that is also a very complicated task. And try to understand, when you are taking only a simple one microgrid, it is not only one microgrid, you have a network microgrid. So whatever the control effort you are doing, you are exchanging the information of the microgrid to the grid. It is not in that your microgrid 1 is interacting with the 2 and 3 and all in cascade there. So you have a centralized control, you have a distributed control, you have a decentralized control, you have a multi-agents. And so that is also not adequate. You have to go for an event trigger action, because sometimes what happens in that transition mode, whenever you are taking a particular event and a particular microgrid is really essential to interact with the grid, that should be taken in the event trigger based, so that the control effort, whatever you are taking into the consideration, it is much more reliable, and the control action is much more efficient as well. So these are all, so this is, I am not, because this is just a local maxima, local minima, cubic spline interpolations, and this has been done in a FPGA platform. This is for the EMD implementation in FPGA. So you are making this algorithm. That means why you are doing that? That is the real-time phenomena. Whether that is your basic objective is to get the sample delay, occurrence of the fault, and how many sample delay you are getting it, and the basic meaning of this maxima, minima, and the interpolation, whatever you are taking into the consideration. If there is a missing point, data points, the trajectory has to be exactly extracted. So for that, so these are all, whatever the algorithm, it is being simply replicated in the mathematical form with the just like a Simulink blocks. So this is okay. So I'm just skipping this. So these are all your islanding and non-islanding events with respect to the particular your algorithms being implemented. Now the question arises, okay, you are just doing some discontinuity detection and followed by your relaying actions, and whether the grid code compliance, your low voltage write through, that this is not been taken here actually, because that has to be also taken, because you cannot always disconnect all your DC that is being penetrated, that is arbitrarily. Again, the switching action and reclosing action, it is again that also is a strenuous job on part of a protection engineer. So sometimes the grid code compliance has to be modified, and you have a different grid code compliance, and your low voltage write through is a major issue that has to be taken into the consideration. So what I want to tell you, so this is such a detection with respect to different techniques. I'm not talking about the techniques and of comparative performance. Unless you do it by your own and you perform and exactly you replicate the results, then it is reliable. And whatever it is there, I am telling, it is not, it may not be correct. But if you have the conceptual understanding, okay, this is the phenomena, and suppose, for instance, your generation demand, the close mismatch. At that time, the rate of change of frequency, del F by del T, that based ROCF based detection, that fails. So you have a particular non-detection zone. So if you make this your adaptive technique and your signal with a particular fixed data window, and you implement starting from the scratch DFT, then you go for your least square estimate, then you go for the higher signal processing algorithm starting from your wavelet, your matched wavelet, and try to understand your wavelet. What is the basic problem in the wavelet analysis? Basically, once the mother wavelet is selected, it is not transferred. It is fixed. Although you are making a energy, your translation parameter and a dilation parameter, you are taking in a subsequent decomposition. Once the mother wavelet is fixed, that you cannot go in the subsequent decomposition. So for that, you go for a stationary wavelet transform. That means the translation invariance property. So that is the more variants of the wavelet transform in context of the time and frequency resolution. Why I am taking both in cascade? Because the time resolution may not be adequate to address any discontinuity of any events. Whatever your swell, sag, momentary interruption, your islanding, your fault, whatever it is occurring in the system. And I'm not making a decision making for that. So I'm augmenting the decision-making process, again projecting the set of data to the higher dimensional space. Try to understand the logic. This is the first instance. I'm understanding the discontinuity. Again, further, you are so this you can understand here more better this time. Yes, this one. So this is the objective function. That is a function of weight, bias, and the error. And deliberate inequality constraint. So on contrary, so this is your empirical Rex minimization principle, because the neural network sometimes it may get trapped in a local minima. And try to understand, now there is a lot of variant on the neural network. You have the deep neural network architecture is also there. You're starting from your LSTM, your convolution neural network. Also now graphical neural network, GNN, also that comes into the picture. So it is not a question of only the activation functions and the exchange of the informations from the input to the hidden and your output, whatever you take in the variant forms. If you take your recurrent network architecture and correspondingly the mapping between the hidden to the context neurons, and also you make sometimes the network architecture modular. Because sometimes when you have a huge data sets, the total information taking in the cascade, it is very difficult to get a particular decision in that context. You make it modular. Just like a sequence component decomposition, what you do? The unbalanced network, you are transferring to the your positive, negative, and zero sequence, although with respect to the renewable penetration, it is a bit tricky. But finally, what you are making when you are dividing a complex network into a segregated network for a particular decision, and finally you are combining, it is much more relevant, much more efficient than that of making a monolithic network. So here what you are taking, so this is your weight, bias, and error. Three variables. You can also increase more. Now, suppose your disease now penetrated, your environmental adaptivity is there, your stochastic is there. You deliberately add more variables here in the objective function. It is only for a sake of representation. Try to understand. Mathematics should not be only for a sake of mathematics. The application for that, for instance, your stochasticity, with respect to the penetration of the renewables, when your on-model dynamics is making a predominant impact on the grid, is there any more variables which is really relevant than that of the redundant information can be deliberately added in the objective function? So what is the lacuna with us? We try to implement one technique, another technique, just to make a comparative assessment without understanding the real depth of the research. That is our lacuna. That is our deficiency. So in this way, we lack that of the counterpart in a global forum. So it is not only the mathematics and higher any technique or whatever you take in a practical sense also. You have to make a physical, the realization of the same. Otherwise, it is completely meaningless. So if you make a classifier, just you see here, the clusters. And that cluster will occupy one space here when you make just like a training and testing in a neural network that you do. So the question arises, how when you are making a feature and it is only suppose from the raw signal you are taking a feature, that is okay, but you can take a statistical features, because with respect to the uncertainty, the statistical based feature is more relevant, more prevalent. The standard deviation, ketosis, mean, variance, probability density functions, joint probability density functions. You are taking a Gaussian distribution, that is fine. But when it is a multivariate, your chi-square distribution, and that the joint probability density function that comes into the picture. And with respect to that, the signal statistics, the noise statistics also comes. And you see how far under this evolving events and its subsequent decomposition, it is there with respect to the the particular algorithm that you implement. Now, for instance, you take the islanding, and this is one is for the noise. As I told you, the noise based, noise subspace based, and signal subspace. And what you make. So, for instance, I'm talking you one aspect. If you have a synchronous based DG and an inverter based DG, when you perturb the system about the operating point, your frequency, your oscillatory frequency will be visualized, and a monotonically increasing and decreasing. If you make a delta F as a function of time, and you linearize about just like a Taylor series expansion, and you make a delta F as a function of time, and correspondingly you make it, you will visualize that. So this is, for instance, your matrix pencil based. Your noise, particularly the signal based, predominant based, your algorithm for your disturbance detection. And at the point of common coupling, just you see here, monotonically increasing and monotonically decreasing. So this is one indicative disturbance. This is one. So you, I can show you the associated mathematics that is not here also, but anyway, I can share you later. So this delta F as a function of time for a synchronous based DG and an inverter based DG will have the different analysis as far as the perturbation of the frequency as a function of time is concerned. When you make the linearization about its operating point. So this is one distinctive nature that you can have a particular interpretation in order to go for a particular disturbance. And this again, so this all was validated also in a OPOLARITY platform, and whatever we are for the close mismatch. So these results, I am not going for that. Again, this is just a microgrid. I am talking about that. So microgrid, this test model, just you see here, this very fundamental thing. You have the retrieved signals from the two identical. You are assuming that the two identical cities are there. Although the mismatch is there, that offset is being taken duly care. We take care of that offset. And here, what you do, the spectral energy based entropy. That means what? That means what you have already passed this signal to the corresponding AMD. That means it is because and now you are assuming that okay, your communication infrastructure is also it is reliable, and you are making a differential based protection, which is a very simple fundamental based protection. But is adequate that if you take the simple current based and try to understand when you are taking a CT saturation, although in a distribution level that question arises how the saturation of the CT really occurs. But again, but one basic thing is try to understand. You are all aware of the BH curve and the CT saturation phenomena, but you have you know you are taking a single valued function of the BH curve without much knowledge about the material science associated. You have a Langevin function, you have the magnetic dipoles with the subsequent your orientations, the collision between the dipoles, intermolecular, interdipolar that coming into the pictures, and your retrace path of the BH curve. Again, that is another loop inside that. So what exactly I want to tell you that CT that with respect to the saturation, if I am taking this simple your retrieval of the signal, although the saturation detection technique is there and this nullification is also there, but this non-stationary signal analysis will have a real visualization of that. So, and again, we are further doing a energy based, because sometimes the identical characteristics are a problem of threshold. So what exactly? So that means with the at present not taking the saturation functions from the two CT that you are taking into the considerations, and you are making the initiation of the fault and the sample delay that you are taking into the considerations, and then you are making analytic function based analysis for detecting the fault at a particular instance, and the sample delay that you take into the considerations. So that is for the differential based protections. And here try to understand. So this thing I have already told you, this protection aspect, what you do, the comparison, threshold value, and the decision making. But now you see here, this curve is also, your fuse reclosures, your relay, and the slow curve and the fast curve, and whether it is a instantaneous based or your RMS value. So whatever. So this thing you all your legacy of the protection, all of you are aware of. Legacy of the protection scheme for the utility professionals, for the academicians, this is a mature technology. Nothing new about it. But with the advent of the signal processing and the numerical relays, the mature technology, it is going on. Till now, the artificial intelligence based protection is at the early stage for the practical implementation, although it is restricted in the only for the publications in the just in a research domain in form of papers, in a publication paper. It has not been still a mature technology as far as the utility professionals are concerned. But at the same time, the protection aspect with the DG penetrated. Now, one aspect is that, okay, the contribution to the short circuit current and the inertia that I talked about. Then you have to do another things. Whether you have, so this thing I am the speaking. So these are the all possible things: blinding of protection, false sympathetic tripping, loss of fuse reclosure, coordination, unsynchronous reclosing, and the provision of the automatic reclosing. So these are all the possible phenomena. So as far as with respect to a particular your renewable penetration in the grid, but now whether it is a when it is a converter based DG that is penetrated, it is not only these factors are taken into the consideration, the associated control and its transition modes. The associated control and its transition mode, and when, so for instance, we are taking a total operating time of the relay and the coordination time interval, CTR. You are taking DMS, your PSM, you are selecting the primary and backup pair. Accordingly, you are formulating the objective function, and you are making the total operating time minimum. But now with the inclusion of the DG, is really, and we take a specific curve, that is fine. with the inclusion of the DG, is the really there is a possibility of the augmentation of the objective function, because your CTI should not get violated. That should be within 0.2 to 0.4. Your total operating time should be minimum. In a distribution network, simple, I'm talking about only over current relay, although the directional features are there. So for that, you have this, you have the master control, you have the slaves, and sometimes it is just like a multi-agents also. All the DG that is being connected, it acts as the agents. And you have in the grid connected, it is the PQ and islanded, and you have the power electronics interface is there. So correspondingly, and you are assuming that, again I'm taking when you are talking about the reference tracking, your reference is fixed. But again, your reference, if it is varying. Again, another thing is that when you are taking this, your control loop, your inner control loop inherently fast than the voltage control loop. Your current control loop is always very fast. But the mutual coupling, is there any due consideration of mutual coupling between the two adjacent control loop? That has to be also taken into the consideration, because again, the control effort that you are taking into the consideration, it is not only for the event trigger based, whatever you talk about, that is fine. But if in the particular time scale, whether the control loop that exists in that particular time scale, there is a possibility of a mutual coupling between that, because again, the decisive action will wait until the control loop takes its process, where the reference is also going, it is also just stochastic in nature due to the unmodeled dynamics and the penetration, all the filters, your transition from your cutoff band to your pass band, you take into the consideration your attenuation level, everything is perfect, still then you get that. So this we are talking about the only voltage control loop and the current control loop and the subsequent impact on that. So I told you the PMU in the transmission network, it is going for a visibility of the grid, because it is essential. For instance, you design a power system stabilizer, you design a wide area backup, you go for the remote area, your interharmonic estimation for the fundamental phasor extraction. There the PMU plays an important role also in the wide area control, because the local information is not adequate enough in that particular zone where you are talking about so therefore you take the total remote end, and not only you are taking the signal, how far that signal is reliable. When you are extracting the PMU based, you have to clean, you have to make the outlier detection, you have to make any missing of the data in context of the interpolation. In this similar manner, in a distribution system, micro PMU also plays an important role, although it has not gained a remarkable momentum as of now. In particularly in India and Asian country, your distribution system is really horrible. Although the smart meter based, you have done smart meter based, because in the Puducherry project and all, they have done some commendable work. That is for the dynamic demand response and other analysis, theft detection, because the distribution loss, that loss factor is a considerable transmission and distribution loss. So this micro PMU, on contrary to your PMU that is for the 30 to 50 samples, that data scan rate is more, and you have to make the event identification and the characterization in the distribution system, because you have your radial network, you have a meshed network, you have a complicated network, and unbalance is prevalent, and your distribution load flow is different than that of your transmission system load flow. And with respect to the topology change and the event detections, whatever you talk about, micro PMU with the remarkable. If the cost factor, now the cost factor, it has in Berkeley Press, they have already implemented. Also in some time in some Kerala State Electricity Board, probably they have implemented micro PMU. They are doing the analysis. Very um, very appreciating attempt from those people. This micro PMU, when you make this your event-based analysis, your event-based analysis can be also uniform. Whatever you have done in the transmission system, although the topology with respect to the penetration level, detailed dynamics, here the transmission system and here the frequency sensitive model of the cable, and possible, for instance, I am talking about a traveling based in a medium voltage distribution system in a naval applications. The traveling based protection, it is really commendable. People have done the work. So G. Bengan Murthy and all, they have been a medium voltage MBDC, they have done a commendable. The arrival time, that detections, again with respect to that, your spatial correlation and traveling based protections. That is coming in a big way because the signal characteristics, on contrary to the fundamental phasor based estimations, the high frequency component based, that also make a protection system much more reliable, although some limitations are there. So this is about your protection aspect. So as for the small signal, so try to understand when you are talking the transfer function based and the state space based, sometimes the order of the dynamics, that model order, that also arises. It goes to a higher, that means about 56th order, 64th order, up to second order, third order. You have the Runge-Kutta routine and Ehlers methods. With the approximation, you can achieve something. Okay, it is a feasible solution. The convergence may get achieved, fine. With respect to certain, this is a step size. But when it is a higher order, try to understand, you have to make it a reduced order without sacrificing its your higher order dynamics and its particular property. And sometimes the nonlinearity term, which is really this as per the higher order, whatever your relevant states are there, let it be kept intact. Don't reduce it. And you make a state space analysis for all your this is okay for the your this is space vector modulation voltage source converter, and you are connected to grid, and this this mathematical models with respect to, this is the basically the transfer function based. Initially it was taken for the sake of in detail analysis of that, but I am telling you one thing. This is a norm-based error function. So that means whatever you are getting in the transfer, your original transfer function, your reduced order transfer function, and you take the norms. The system response to the white noise and the tracking error. It transpose it. This is in a statistical based or H infinity norm. That is the maximum gain of the error function in the frequency domain. So try to understand, this is very, very elegant analysis. You are not sacrificing the total your total higher order dynamics of the integrated system. At the same time, the relevant information is kept intact. The relevant information is kept intact, and you are taking a linear combination. This your second norm, infinite norm, and this your error norm are as if mutually exclusive. It is mutually exclusive. So you are taking the minimization of this mixed norm as an objective function. So After that, subjected to the perturbation in autonomous mode, whatever you are getting is all your reduced order model, your original model, your balanced truncation methods. This is the standard and your eigenvalue and the dominant poles. Fine. And correspondingly, you can get the participation factors also and the activity of the different modes. Your slow mode and the oscillatory modes, and on the faster modes also. And this error minimization can be done by the artificial intelligence also. So just you see here, why you are doing the small signal analysis, whether about the perturbation, whether it is there is an excursion about this operating point, whether linearization, followed by because you have a lot of these, your network also, network microgrids. There the reduced order model is really indispensable. Otherwise, you cannot go for the stability analysis. You cannot introspect the protection aspect correctly. So the reduced order modeling in this, so just to try to understand how the control application is there, optimization is there, signal processing is there, but we only were worried about the applying the techniques without understanding the basics. So this, when you are making rest of the thing is okay with respect to the step change in disturbance and in any transient. After that, what I am getting, whether it is tracking your original and in that if there is any your transition from the pre-disturbance scenario to the post-disturbance scenario is there, how far the tracking performance is getting achieved. That is fine. And these are all your stability, your gain margin, phase margin, border plot. So this I am not doing. So this is again implemented in Typhoon. Yes. So what I told you, when you are taking the model and reduction in the DC microgrid, as I told you, the time scale in the different dynamics plays an important role. The time scale in the different dynamics, that plays an important role. And for that, when you are taking a time scale separation, this is the fuel cell and corresponding to that fuel cell dynamics and your AM value, your hydrogen and all this that is okay. These are all well understood, the basic things. The slow dynamics and the fast dynamics you are taking inherently the slow dynamics of associated with the fuel cell. So you are decoupling that. Your order reduction of the fast system, your order reduction of the slow system, and correspondingly you are making the reduction of the objective function formulation. Such an elegance. I'm not sacrificing the original models. Due care of the unmodeled dynamics is also been taken care of. In the associated time scale, whatever the dynamics, whatever the states are really relevant and predominant, that I am taking. And correspondingly, the analysis is done in accordance manner. G fast minus of the G redundant fast. Right? So this will be obtained by the optimization. Okay, optimization is just a tool. Stagnation about a particular, the convergence criteria you have to achieve. You have to go from the source to destination with a higher degree of freedom. Right? So after that, then it is your characteristics of the fast system and the slow system. So the result is okay. Result is okay. Analysis on this, I am not going in details of the results. This you see. Again, I am telling you, your disease there. This is okay. It stands in a one domain. That is another domain also do prevails. That is the cyber layer. Now, till now, India has not a very prevalent. It is not a very dominant feature, but because the 2012 blackout, that is not a real case of any cyber attack. Mumbai recent attack, it is not due to the cyber attack, although the grid automation do prevails. India has not till now faced that scenario of the cyber attack. But however, if we have a dedicated in-depth interaction between the communication agent with respect to the microgrid agent in a multi-agent sense, then any misbehaving agent, any stubborn agent can be comfortably identified. So in that, so okay, the physical layer and cyber layer, these are all total two separate entity. Distributed control and centralized control is well understood, and the dynamics of the control in the multi-DG, whatever you take, the primary control, secondary, and the tertiary, that is for the dispatch from the microgrid 1 to 2. So this, when it is going in a multi-agent sense, both in the grid connected and in the islanded mode, you have to go for the nonlinear dynamics of the DG. That is graph theories. Thanks for that. Very basic. In a power system network, graph theory is not new. But now, if you take the graph theory, because sometimes the rest of the power network, we are least concerned. We are taking a specific node and the adjacent node for the making a specific architecture. You are making the specific node, the branch, the tree, and that means it is a limited network, limited architecture. And in that, we are making edge, vertices, Laplacian matrix, spanning tree, and this is the consensus. What we are taking, the consensus-based tracking error. You are achieving a consensus. Suppose DG1, DG2, DG3, DG4, they interact. Among them, this is the consensus in the error that is being achieved. That means suppose the secondary frequency tracking synchronization and a neighborhood. So in that sense, when you are making this consensus-based tracking error, you have to make it robust because the parametric uncertainty has to be taken care of. Thanks to the revolution of robust control, starting from sliding mode, your backstepping, your H infinity. H infinity is also linear. So the sliding mode and your backstepping, both these two. Proper designing of the switching surface. Proper designing of the switching surface. And now I told you the communication network. Again, the communication network, if I'm making a single communication, that is again very complex. Make it a distributed communication. Make it further modular. Make it further modular. And you make the corresponding consensus-based error minimization. And the virtual, this is another thing, virtual impedance. Sometimes I'm taking the virtual because the synthetic inertia, because you are, whether you have it in a transmission system or a distribution system. Whatever you have to emulate the inertia in the integrated network, so that suppose in a transmission network you have the power swing, your fault, your trajectory that is entering to the zone 3, and the inertia response, how far the trajectory is entering to that zone, and your ROCF, the key indicator for the islanding detection. In case of that, if you have a inertia based and a synthetic inertia based, or a non-inertia, your predominance of the converter based, whether the inertia is going, it is that is drastically reduced. electric vehicle, let it be. So I just please, I am winding off. I'm sorry because I have to go to the department. So just a little bit for this protection and control, whatever it was possible. Just I just made you the glance of this where you can possibly explore the research. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Very nice presentations. Any queries from the participants end? Any queries from your end? Okay. So I hope that there is no. Yes, sir. So,
Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation and presenting part of your research work to our participants. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So I am leaving if you permit.
Okay, yes.
Thank you, sir. You can leave, sir.